She came, she saw, she conquered, and then she vanished. A rising star in the fashion world, her presence is unforgettable. But what was really happening behind the scenes?
Hi, my name is Daul Kim. I'm from Seoul. Today you're going to go around New York with me. We're going to go to Chinatown.
Kim grew up in Seoul, South Korea, in an upper-middle-class family. She had a relatively privileged life and even attended French language schools in South Korea. Her exposure to Western culture from an early age gave her a head start in the modeling industry. From early on, Kim showed signs of being creative and introspective. She loved to paint, write, and explore alternative forms of self-expression. This clashed with South Korea's conservative and success-driven education system.
Paul first scouted me, and then I was modeling back home in Korea, and I just started working overseas this January. So this is my second season.
Daul Kim was discovered at 17 years old. Before that, she had left school at 15 to focus on modeling. Daul Kim didn't wait to be discovered. She went after it with all her strength. She did not want to become a doctor or an engineer. She followed her passion for modeling and the arts. At 17, Kim had already made a major splash on the global stage. She appeared on Vogue Korea, which featured a stunning 10-page editorial.
We're finding secret place to smoke.
Good.
Oh, this place is ghetto back here. I'm in the car right now, going to the hotel.
Kim defied everything Korean. She did not fit the conventional Korean standards for how a young woman should behave. She had tattoos, smoked cigarettes, and spoke English with heavy slang. In Korean standards, she would be described as rebellious and inappropriate. For example, she once posted a painting of herself nude with the caption, "I painted myself today because I don't recognize who I am anymore." Her artistic expression was way ahead of its time. Kim's modeling career was brief but very impactful. Marked by fierce individuality, expressive artistry, and stunning beauty, she left the industry obsessed. Kim's modeling career began in Seoul, and she had the looks for it. Her unusual beauty, tall, androgynous, with a haunting, expressive face, quickly gave her attention. After moving from South Korea, Kim was signed by Elite Model Management, the same agency that had signed the 14-year-old Kate Moss. She would then begin to walk for the world's top fashion houses. She was on the runways for Chanel, Alexander McQueen, Vivienne Westwood, Gareth Pugh, Christopher Kane, Dries Van Noten, and Karl Lagerfeld, among many others. Beyond the runway, Kim graced the pages of major fashion magazines like ID, Dazed and Confused, Vogue, and Harper's Bazaar. She also appeared in numerous ad campaigns, including Topshop, MAC Cosmetics, and H&M. Her popularity soared in Europe, particularly in Paris, where she often worked and lived. One moment we cannot forget is her appearance in Alexander McQueen's Fall-Winter 2009 show. The theme was beauty, destruction, and cultural decay, and Kim embodied it. She glided down the runway with a haunting gaze, dramatic makeup, and a towering headpiece. It wasn't just a fashion show, it was a performance. This show was iconic because it was one of McQueen's last before his own tragic death in 2010.
Hi, we're at Tommy. This is Carly, Ali, and me. And we're talking about shoes.
Despite writing about exhaustion and emotional distress, Kim did have a close circle of model friends. One of her most well-known friendships was with Hannah Gabi Odiele, a Belgian model known for her quirky style and offbeat personality. The two were often seen together backstage at shows and shared a rebellious, creative spirit. Kim also bonded with fellow Asian models like Liu Wen and Hyoni Kang. Kim is not your average model. Remember when we said she loved writing? Well, she had a blog titled, "I Like to Fork Myself." It was a deeply personal and revealing online diary that gave us her raw, unfiltered look into the world of high fashion. Her online blog was a stark contrast from the glossy perfection she displayed on magazine covers and runways. There, she was raw, poetic, and chaotic. The blog was up from the mid-2000s until November 2009. On this blog, you can see the introspective side of her. The themes that kept repeating themselves were alienation, mental health, beauty standards, existential dread, loneliness, and rebellion. She really wasn't writing to impress anyone. She was documenting her worldview. Sometimes Kim could be scarily honest and vulnerable. For instance, in 2009, she wrote, "I am lonely. I am hurt. I am sad. I am angry. I am tired. I am lost. I am weak. In another entry, she wrote, "The more I gain, the more lonely it is. I know I'm like a ghost." In the days leading up to her death, her entries got increasingly haunting. For instance, one entry read, "Say hi to my mom and dad. I love you. This is for you." These have been widely interpreted as her goodbye notes. Later, her friends disclosed that Kim had been writing goodbye notes for months. Wonder why nobody checked up on her. Notably, Kim felt objectified, used and dehumanized by the industry. In one of her blog entries, she wrote, "Sometimes I feel like a doll. Everyone wants to dress me up, but no one wants to know what's inside." She wrote this when she was in the middle of a demanding runway season. She felt admired but unseen, celebrated but not cared for. Even at the height of her success, she felt discarded and replaceable. Now, remember when we said that Kim was into photography? This side of her was reflected in her blog. Photography was more of a personal and creative pursuit rather than a professional one. On her blog, she shared self-portraits, behind-the-scenes photos, and intimate snapshots of her life. She wasn't after glamour. These were raw, expressive, and deeply artistic images accompanied by emotional and cryptic messages. She played with lighting, shadows, and unusual compositions. Her body was mainly the subject. Her photography highlighted her introverted and experimental nature. Some of these showed her makeup smudged, vulnerable, and in surreal poses. The photographs were emotionally charged and sometimes quite unsettling, really. It was a way to communicate her identity and the isolation she felt, despite having all the fame and money anyone could want. Kim started modeling at 17, and 3 years later, we would not see her on the runway ever again. Kim had been battling depression and dissolution. In 2009, she had had enough and decided to end her own life. She was found by her then-boyfriend in her luxurious apartment in Paris. She had repeatedly told friends and colleagues that she was burnt out, overwhelmed by the demands of the industry, and struggling with loneliness. She had posted about this on her blog, but the gravity of her words may not have been fully recognized or understood at the time. From the outside, her career seemed to be thriving. Kim had recently completed Paris Fashion Week and was looking to do more fashion work. She was lined up for more campaigns and editorials, but internally, Kim was exhausted. In past interviews, she had hinted at the pressure of being an Asian model in a westernized industry, her struggles with mental health, and how success had led to her isolation. Kim's death drew international headlines and necessitated serious conversations about mental health in the fashion industry and the exploitative nature of modeling. She showed how even those who appear to be succeeding can be suffering in silence. Her friends and colleagues were shocked by her death. No one saw it coming. Many paid tribute to her, acknowledging her great talent and the tragedy of how unseen her pain had been. Some of Kim's friends pointed out how her struggles had been visible in her art, writing, and demeanor, but were largely ignored and misunderstood. Her blog revealed a girl who had been crying for help in plain sight. Modeling agencies were now put in the spotlight for the way they treated young models. The discussion about how models, many of whom are still teenagers, were expected to work for long hours, fly constantly, and deal with rejection and body scrutiny without emotional and psychological support. Kim wasn't just a fashion icon. She became a symbol of how success does not shield someone from emotional distress and how creative brilliance can often mask deep pain. She inspired new age models like Adwoa Aboah, Cara Delevingne, and Edie Campbell to be open about mental health, racism, and abuse in the modeling industry. Kim's death was not just a tragedy, it was a wake-up call. In an industry heavily reliant on appearances, Kim dared to be real. And while she may be gone, her words, her art, and her vulnerability continue to resonate, reminding us that behind every flawless image is a soul that longs to be heard, not just seen.